All right, let's get this show started.
In today's news, Conor McGregor takes aim at Demetrious Johnson. McGregor has not taken Demetrious Johnson's dig about his fighting career lightly. During Monday's appearance on the Ariel Helwani show, DJ questioned why McGregor still wants to fight despite his $500 million fortune.
Conor McGregor, if I was to ask him, why are you still fighting? What makes you want to come back? You have all the money in the world that you can ever want. Like an extra 10 million, 20 million, that shouldn't affect the 500 million he's made off selling. I don't know how much cocaine is. I don't know, but it can't be that expensive. I don't know. I should ask Oscar De La Hoya because he said he's admitted about doing it.
In response, McGregor called Johnson the lowest earner in the UFC and mocked him for getting traded to one championship in exchange for Ben Askren. He tweeted this: "Baldy little Jap, lowest earner all time. How much does an Xbox cost? Traded for Askren. LOL, bye Felicia." Ciryl Gane shares x-rays of his broken foot. Gane won a controversial decision over Alexander Volkov at Saturday's UFC 310 event. In his post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, Gane said he wasn't happy with how he fought and that the reason behind his compromised movements is that he injured his foot in the very first round of the fight. On Monday, Gane shared x-rays of his foot injury on social media. In his Instagram stories, Gane also wrote that it wasn't only his toe that was injured, but also two metatarsals, which he marked in the above screenshot. Gane claims that the foot was essentially useless to him from that point forward. Mike Bisping gets honest on Anthony Smith's UFC 310 loss. Smith, who regularly appears alongside Bisping on the Believe You Me podcast, suggested he will most likely retire after suffering a second-round TKO defeat against Dominic Reyes in Las Vegas on Saturday night. Lionheart broke down in tears while discussing his fighting future after the recent death of his longtime coach, Scott Morton. Speaking on the most recent episode of the BYM podcast, Bisping shared his honest take on Smith's loss and stated that Anthony should have withdrawn from the bout after the death of his coach.
You don't want to be overly emotional when you're going into a fight. You got to be in control of your emotions or emotionless. When I saw Anthony in, we were there right by the prep point. He's walking in and, visibly very, very upset. Of course, at that moment there, he would have gone through that moment with his old mentor and coach. And, that probably brought all of that emotion to the forefront. I understand that. That's why I don't think he should have taken that fight. And again, I'll say this, and maybe I'll owe him an apology. I thought that when he took his shirt off at the prep point, I thought he doesn't look to be in shape, which I kind of get because he's had so many distractions. The last thing you're thinking about is training twice a day, eating the right food, going for a massage, focusing on your recovery, meditation and all that type of stuff. No, you're like, okay, I'll show up, I'll do my job, I'll make weight, which he almost didn't, and then go and kick some ass. But for him, it was a mistake. Maybe it was therapeutic.
Bisping also said that he'd like to see Smith fight again.
I don't think he will retire. I think when he watches that back, he's going to be, and I'll choose my words carefully, but I know the emotions of a fighter. I think he's going to be embarrassed when he watches that, and that's going to fuel him to want to come back and fight again. And I would like to see him fight again because I don't believe that the world deserves to remember him like that.
Robert Whittaker gets honest on the Du Plessis vs. Strickland rematch. During UFC 310's broadcast, the promotion announced that DDP will defend his belt against Sean Strickland at UFC 312 in Sydney, Australia. Speaking on his MMA Arcade podcast, Whittaker said he was a little surprised by the announcement and picked DDP to beat Strickland once again.
I'm surprised Sean literally just sat out. Like, everyone was laughing at him when he said, I'm going to sit out until I get my title shot. And dude straight up got title shot. Props for that. Like you got to give it to him. Guy like straight up stuck by what he said. But in my opinion, I don't see the fight going any different. Like, Du Plessis is such a dog in there. He's going to come with the same aggressiveness and game plan. What could Sean do differently to change the outcome?
Whittaker also said he favors Khamzat Chimaev in a fight against either of them.
I think he just takes him down and does the same thing. Like, not necessarily to me, but to like how he beat Usman.
Right.
Like I can, or how he beat Gert Burns. I can see those sort of fights. I think he'd have more success with Strickland than Du Plessis.
Mm-hmm.
Just because Duplessis is like a big dude. Stopping that first takedown is so crazy. That the way he shoots in that first shot is crazy. How do you stop that dude? Jump over him. Like,
Kamaru Usman goes off on Ian Garry over recent accusations. Usman didn't take kindly to Garry claiming that he ran from a potential fight against him before, ultimately booking a showdown against Shavkat Rakhmonov at UFC 310. In the days leading up to his fight, Garry said Usman has a big chest and little balls, while alleging that the UFC told him Kamaru Usman wants nothing to do with you after attempting to book a fight between them.
Usman has a big chest and little balls.
That's what was said to you?
He looks good. No, he does not. That's what I'm saying. He's got a big chest. He looks good. He plays the part, but where it matters between the legs, he's a little man. Usman is going to try push for a fight with Jack Della Maddalena because he's seen how easily Gilbert Burns is able to take him down. So for me, if I was in Usman's shoes, why would I want to fight the guy who's long, rangy, difficult to deal with, when I could fight a guy who I've watched two people back to back?
Following Garry's loss to Rakhmonov this past Saturday night, on his Pound for Pound podcast, Usman was asked about potentially facing the outspoken Irishman in his next fight, which earned a heated reaction from the former UFC welterweight champion.
Yeah, I mean, does he even deserve that? It's leading up to this fight. There was a lot being said. He made a lot of things. Oh, everyone's running from me. These guys are running from me. Like, and I don't run from anybody. I run from no one. The notion of, oh yeah, they were scared of me, they were running up. Like, who are you? Who are you that I, of all people, am scared of you? Who are you? I guess he was upset because he wanted me to be his late notice replacement for his fight. Who the guy for me to be a late replacement for?
Garry later made an appearance on the Ariel Helwani show where he responded to Usman's comments.
He hasn't got the balls to step in there against these young up-and-coming contenders. He just wants to maintain relevancy and hold that ranking and doesn't want to do anything to compete to it. And I feel like there needs to be a change in the rule set with people like him and Colby who are keeping the division static and not willing to do anything. It's ridiculous, but it should be you have one choice. You fight this guy or you don't fight at all. It shouldn't be a case of, oh, well, we have options. No, we want you to fight X. You either fight or you don't fight. I don't know any way to make it more obvious, but Kamaru Usman, in my mind, is a and I don't think he'll ever step into the octagon with me, ever.
ILIA Topuria hints at vacating the featherweight belt. After an unprecedented 2024 campaign where he scored victories over divisional greats Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway, Topuria has now indicated that a move up to lightweight is in his immediate future. All signs point to Topuria defending his belt in a rematch with Volkanovski in 2025, perhaps in Spain, but it appears that El Matador has a different plan in mind. During a recent interview with Spanish radio outlet El Partidazo de Cope, Topuria said he wants to return in April/May and fight Charles Oliveira at lightweight.
Claro, no lo puedes comer cuando estás en recorte, el arroz, nada, ¿no?
No, pero de aquí en adelante espero que sí.
¿Por qué?
Bueno, porque tal vez toca un cambio, ¿no?
Igual tiene que recortar un poco menos. Igual tiene que subir a pegarse con los mayores. O, mejor dicho, a pegar a los mayores.
When pressed by the radio host as to whether the call-out of Oliveira could mean he's moving on from the featherweight division, which in turn would mean relinquishing the belt, Topuria nodded his head and confirmed that it's possible that we have already seen his last featherweight fight.
Estamos ante la primera noticia. ¿Es posible que hayamos visto ya tu último combate de peso pluma?
Sí, seguro. Seguramente que sí.
¿Te pasas al peso ligero?
It's time for today's top memes. Third place was posted by Kane V. Second place was posted by Hamza Shimaev. And the top pick was posted by As Shopped As It Gets. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. to keep up with the latest MMA news.